The Indian construction equipment industry is at a pivotal moment. Over the past decade, the industry has tripled, and the expectation is that it is further going to triple in the next half a decade or so. The size of the industry is going to hit over $25 billion, and exports also are rising. They are also supposed to touch about $5 billion. This is underpinned by a massive infrastructure ambition, 50,000 kilometers of road construction, and surge in coal and critical mineral mining, and rapid adoption of industrialized building techniques. At the same time, the industry faces a complex mix of challenges and opportunities. Global competition, aggressive Chinese exports with deep credit terms, localization gaps, shortfalls in high precision component manufacturing, which is the mechatronics and hydraulics, technology transition, need for smart, multifunctional, low emission machine with balancing, affordability for domestic contractors, sustainability pressure, everyone's talking about net zero. How can the industry move towards, for large machines like these, whether electrification is the right move, hydrogen, CNG, biofuel, there's talk of isobutane as well to be mixed in diesel. Customer expectation, the most important thing that is going to determine where this industry moves from here. So moving from product supply to life cycle solutions, uptime guarantees, and technology-enabled service models. In this session of Autocar Professional Inner Circle, Future Starters of Mobility, a CXO Roundtable, hosted in association with ZF Group, we intend to bring about key insights on what you, the industry leaders, feel about how Indian construction equipment sector is going to evolve going ahead, close the capability gap, secure competitive edge globally while meeting the rapidly evolving needs of the domestic market. In order to deliver this, we need machines that are locally manufactured with parts that are locally sourced, proven globally, yet meet the needs of the Indian market at an accessible price. Therein lies the strength of companies like the ZF Group. Through this association, we intend to bring about a voice of the construction equipment industry for our viewers, and in association with ZF Group, we intend to bring this voice to you. So we would like Akash to speak about how ZF Group, which is like a complete end-to-end solution provider, wants to play in the construction equipment space. Akash.
Thank you, Ketan. And I'd firstly like to thank everyone here from the industry for being here. Thank you for taking your time out. We're really looking forward to listen to you today. So Ketan, as ZF, we think we can and will play a much more meaningful role in the Indian automobile segment as we go on. There are things which are changing from yesterday. First of all, it's always a pleasure to get up in India every morning and think what you need to grow, because in the rest of the world, when people get up, they're looking at what to cut or what to rationalize, because it is such a volatile situation. Either most of the developed economies are down, or there are tariff or logistic restrictions or rare earth restrictions coming in, which make the developed world a little bit work on an unplanned territory, which is not normal for that part of the world. And therefore, with such high VUCA, we as India and Indians stand a good chance in this so-called grey zone to do our best. Our markets are rapidly modernizing, and when I say this, I don't only say for construction equipment. Everything that moves, at least in the field of automobile, or very much on sustainability, on windmills, etc. Those are the areas where ZF is quite prevalent, thanks to our customers around the world and in India. And in such a scenario, we see that there is enormous development and modernization which has been happening. There's been a talk in the industry that India is coming, India is happening, and that has been happening for 30, 35 years. But every 3 years, the buzz goes up and then it goes down. Right? And I think that finally, in the last couple of years, I have a feeling that we are living in a time when everything either is going up, and if it's not going up, it's at least flat. This is something in the industry we've not seen before. We've not seen before this active participation from the government, where it wants to do everything which is sustainable, it wants to do everything which is modern, and it wants to see India as a Viksit Bharat by 2047, and thereby bring this gap which is there in some sectors of the industry from traditional approach to a very modern approach of what products are around the world. And I think with that approach, as ZF, we feel that we are quite well placed here to be able to connect with our OEMs, and in this case in the construction equipment industry with all the key players here, that we can offer modern technology which is either well digitized or in terms of platform thinking, not only on the ICE engine side but on the electric side and so on and so forth. So everything is undergoing a change, and it is in that change we think that as ZF, with our wide technological portfolio, with our role as being one of the top 3 in the world as mobility system integrator, we can contribute very much to learn from our customers, listen to them today here, and then value add and be a constant supplier to them in the times to come.
Indeed, I mean, the world is undergoing a transformation, and the VUCA world that you mentioned of, I think the pace of which is something which is very hard for one to keep track of. Let me start with the prospects and challenges. I would like to bring in Anand sir first, the most experienced of the lot. You've seen the industry go through various ups and downs. We've crossed 100,000 unit mark over the last few years, and the industry has been on the volume front as well as on a qualitative front changing. In your assessment, how would you see the transformation that is taking place in the construction equipment side, and what are some of the roadblocks that could potentially be coming in the way of accelerating to the tripling of what the industry anticipates?
Yeah, so you're right that the industry has been growing, and we have now touched the number of about 140,000 units last year, that means 24-25. But that's only the numbers of all our ICMA members, our Construction Equipment Association members. But in India, there are a lot of unorganized players as well. So especially in certain products like concreting equipment or asphalt equipment and all. So if you add those numbers also, it is easily about 150,000 number of units produced in India and sold in India. Of course, there is a small portion of it which also gets illegally exported out of India. Yes. So that's from not from our industry but from excavator industry gets exported. But still I would say that we are somewhere around 150,000. Now, we did one report some time back with BCG, and we said that this particular, we are not at $25 billion, we are only at about $10 billion.
Going towards 25.
Yeah, going towards, yeah.
Going towards
so
25.
By 2030, at that time, we had estimated that it will go to about $25 billion. That was the
2030, yeah, that's
that
the
was the number that, yeah, exactly. So that is what was said at that time. So we had tried to chalk out, what are all the things that we need to do if we really have to go there. So where are the major issues? Now, the bigger problem what we have is that, the manufacturing ecosystem is not complete in India, unfortunately. So the component manufacturers, we don't have component manufacturer here. So we are not able to make ourselves competitive in the marketplace. So we have to somehow try to bring the component industry here. So we are also requesting all our members, ICMA members, to talk to their parent company and see whether their manufacturers can come and set up shop here. But still they feel that, the numbers are not good enough for India. Localization is a bit difficult. So I may say that, I am getting a hydraulic cylinder from, it's localized, I am getting it from here. But then in reality, if you look at it, the tube is imported, the seals are imported.
Right.
So 80% of the things are imported. So that is where, this is one area which we have to look at. Then the second thing is that we don't have these, so we had sort of formed a team, and we were saying that we should try to incentivize the component manufacturers to come to India, so that we give them, let us say, a subsidy on tax or subsidized, make an industrial park for component manufacturers so that they can produce at a cheaper rate and export out of India. Also give the opportunity to export them.
The government.
Yeah, like for example, in case of automobile industry, there are many manufacturers like Rane Group or TVS Group. They produce in India and they export in big numbers abroad. So something like that, if we must have for our construction equipment industry.
An export-oriented unit is something that you're...
Something like an export-oriented unit, so that make a park for component manufacturers park. You may call it like that.
Right.
So that these people, the overseas people, they can come and set up shop here. Unfortunately, whether we like it or not, in certain areas, we have not been able to develop that technology, and even the component may appear to be silly, like a O-ring or a seal, but then what we get from India, unfortunately, they are not up to the mark.
Right.
And no big company is trying to set up a shop here so that they can cater to these requirements. So we have no choice but to. There are a lot of German companies. They do that. They try. They can be called here. We incentivize them to set up their shop here. This is something which probably government could do.
Anand sir's voice, a strong number, and it's expected to further grow. What's been your assessment about the evolution of the market in the last few years, and what are the roadblocks?
So, except last year, that is between 23-24 to 24-25, the growth of the industry was only about 3% or so. But before that, the previous 2 years, the industry has grown at a rate of about 26% over the previous year. That means 22-23 was 26%, 23-26 4 was another 26% over the previous year. 2009-10, we were somewhere around 75,000 and 80,000. And then, of course, 3G, 4G, that scam, Lehman Brothers first, and then subsequently the 4G scam. So the numbers went down. Then from 2016, it started improving. And now we are at about
40,000.
Yeah, and then, as you rightly mentioned, our the report what we made with BCG is that we will grow triple. We can triple the growth, provided government also supports, and also we create a proper manufacturing ecosystem for our products, and the component manufacturing. That's the most critical thing. Steel is not available, anti-dumping duty on steel. These things are some of the challenges what we have. It makes our equipment more expensive. And of course, now with this 50% tariff in US, we don't know what is going to happen in certain areas. Also, so as I said, some of the excavators we are manufacturing. Nobody expected that we'll sell about 2,500 to 2,000 excavators a month in India.
Yes.
Right. It's grown really quite well. Backhoe loaders, of course, they are. Of course, he'll be able to tell the correct numbers, but it's only this year it was low. So I think going forward, definitely the industry is very, very optimistic that it will grow, and if we take care of certain things. Then definitely, and with the support of the government, then definitely, the numbers can reach that level. 250,000 units is what we are targeting by 2030, with a revenue of about $25 billion. Another most important thing what has happened in India, 15 years ago, when we were producing equipment in India, our overseas, 80% of them are overseas companies. They're all West European companies, or Japanese companies, or Korean
we are
companies.
MNCs.
So they have a very bad impression about the products. Say that if it is produced in India, first of all, it has to be cheap, number one, and second thing is that the quality will not be good. Quality was the biggest problem. So our own parent company, they were not interested to buy anything from India. Besides that, we also had territorial restriction. Because most of the parent companies, they have manufacturing facilities in different locations in the country. So they say that, okay, if we start dumping products from India, then they will have to close down other factories. So that was one of the major thing what we also had in this. But over a period of time, Indian construction equipment industry, they have proved that they can produce goods of the international quality. I wouldn't say that we are all of us are able to export to West European countries and US, which has got the maximum product liability laws and other things. But definitely we have started exporting quite a bit from India. And I think Deepak Shetty from JCB, he was mentioning that JCB itself is exporting to almost 80 countries from India. So we are also exporting. Our export turnover, for example, for our company is almost 20-22% of our total revenue, which is not bad. And this has to grow. So over a period of time, definitely the quality of products what we are producing has substantially improved. But I was mentioning that certain products are still not produced in India, which is extremely essential for our infrastructure development. That is products like higher capacity cranes or horizontal deep drilling machine, piling equipment. These sort of equipment, the big quality equipments are not produced in India. I don't think that any small manufacturers will be able to do this. It has to be only it has to be started only by big companies.
Large conglomerates.
Only then they can do it. The requirement is huge. For example, if you take the horizontal deep drilling machine, it's everywhere you are going to have this optical cable. So you need that machine. Otherwise, you'll be... Nowadays, are you seeing any trenches? We don't see any trench.
Yeah.
But at the same time, so much of cabling work is going on. How that is happening?
Yeah.
It's only because of the horizontal deep drilling machine. Now, who is doing that? It's only the Chinese.
Right.
So all the equipment are coming from China. There is no manufacturer in India for that product.
Right.
So government should look at these products which is required for India and at least incentivize them and try to bring in people, give them some facility, something like that. Because if you want to be Atmanirbhar, you have to produce those products in India. This is for sure.
Right.
The second thing is that as far as the construction equipment industry is concerned, our competition is not Europe anymore.
Right.
Because they cannot produce the products at the price at which we can produce, for sure. So our competition is from China.
Right.
Maybe we may get a premium, slight premium, 3%, 5% or something like that. But then we have to only compete with them. So whatever products we are producing, we have to, the efficiency level of manufacturing in our country, it has to also substantially improve like what it has happened in the automobile industry.
Right.
So
right.
this is the second thing. Answering to your question about training and this thing, this is something which we are really putting a lot of pressure on the government. Unfortunately, we have not yet, the ice is not broken. Though we have Indian Infrastructure Equipment Skill Council, which is promoted by ICIMA, our association, and this is already existing for the last 10 years. And whoever is the president of ICIMA, his next job is becoming the chairman of the Infrastructure Equipment Skill Council. So I was the Skill Council chairman some 6-7 years ago. And from that time onwards, we are trying to push the government and tell them that, like you have a license for driving your passenger cars or trucks, you must also
dedicated permit or a license.
Yeah, they at least they should use a certified operator.
Right.
When the minister Rajiv Pratap Rudy was there as a skill development minister at that time, he helped us a lot, and we were able to gain a big. That was the time it started, and now things are going. But then, what is missing there is that government has still not made it as mandatory for use of certified operators for that. So, for example, if you are producing about 140,000 units of pieces of construction equipment in a year, you need at least 280,000 operators.
Right.
Considering 2 operators per machine. But what we are training it is only about 20,000 units. And if you take the life of the equipment about 10 years, then 280 into 10, that means we are talking about 28 lakh operators have to be trained. But we are not able to do that because only because it's not mandated by the government for use of certified operators.
Right.
And that is where the performance of our equipment also comes down.
Yeah.
Because the syllabus what we have, it is a very systematic approach toward training the operators. Driving an excavator or driving a backhoe loader or any of this product is not driving a truck or a passenger car. It's completely different. So if you want to get the best performance out of that, then definitely this has to be made mandatory.
No, fantastic. A lot of points to look at. Rajiv sir, I'd like to come to you. You look at the R&D side of it, and how Anand sir mentioned about the fact that localization is an important element, and yet you have to meet the cost that an Indian consumer looks for. But what is the what is the approach? How can we get the right mix, and how can we incentivize vendors to set up? What's the way out of this in your assessment?
Right.
Do you do that on a regular basis?
Typically what happened, the construction industry evolved from a overseas technology. Like, if you see most of the technology came from Europe or US, and there was no India-centric technology. It was more of a European-Indian product and technology was dumped in India.
Right.
And, because of the technology constraint, the components could not able to develop.
Right.
And the suppliers were, more of a European suppliers or American suppliers. So what happened over a period of time, now things are getting evolved. Now, if you see even small Indian manufacturers, what Mr. Sundaresan mentioned, they're also coming up and developing a product in a niche market or in a different with the localized technology. Second part is, the technical skill also was not available in India because of technology coming. But over a period of time, especially in last 8 to 10 years, if you see a lot of Indian companies, they have started developing a technology and exporting to their principals,
right,
including our company.
Right.
So, and we started recently last month the GCC
Yeah.
and we are supporting now to America and Germany. So that is how that it comes. So what we are doing in that process is now we are trying to understand what are the components or the products available in India, and based on that we are building the product rather
Right.
than just copying them and understanding and using for India.
Right.
Third portion, what we are seeing is the customer expectation are also changing. Now the generation of customers are changed, the operators have changed.
Right.
Their expectation totally different. 10 years back when we used to go and meet with customer, they used to talk about the quality and the cost and reliability.
Right.
Now they are expecting construction equipment customers, they're expecting the quality is given, it has to be there. Now
Hygiene.
they are talking about ergonomics, aesthetics,
Wow.
look wise. They are not talking about the quality.
That's an interesting change.
They are saying it has to be, it should look, very nice. It should give a comfort to us.
Wow.
Now, a recent change, what I'm seeing at least in last 1 year, and we started working on it. They want a smarter product. Smarter means what is happening is the resource, the ground level resource. They are not willing to work the way they used to work. The low skill people. They are educating, so they are not available. For example, if you want to operate a product, there were other people available, to guide and navigate the product. For example, backhoe loader. There were two people always, one operator, another assistant,
Right.
always with them.
Right.
Similarly, in other product, there will be always a person and to guide the product, how to position it. Now, those people are in shortage. So what they are saying is how you can make our product smarter so that shortage of skill can be compensated.
Right.
So, like we experimented as a pilot project, we brought a AI technology in product where you can eliminate two people, only driver can do everything. And to our
Through
surprise,
sensors and cameras.
yes, and AI cameras and learning, artificial camera and the learning program. So we brought the technology and people started liking. But there was always doubt, these technologies are very expensive. But when we started exploring, we found already, a lot of companies, they have started because of course, automobile background.
Right.
And they started developing product in India. And those kind of components are easily available at very low cost. And these kind of things can be a differentiator. Because when we compare with Chinese, because we studied also Chinese, what Mr. Sundaresan said, their products are not to that level. They are at par with European. So we have to bring some value in the product which
Absolutely.
can differentiate so that you can
Absolutely.
pitch it in the market.
Right.
In India and as well as overseas market.
Yeah, one big change that we keep hearing about is the exports from India. JCB has been exporting significant machines from India to around the world, and that also gives you that scale advantage needed to localize. Mr. Deshmukh, you're in design, and you've done so many machines, and I hear Mr. Shetty keep talking about how these are designed and developed for India and for the world. What's been your assessment about the challenges that you face with regards to designing for India, and does the global scale help you there?
So like Raju mentioned, this particular construction equipment technologies is driven from the European part. But since last, I would say 1 decade, we completely changed and shift in terms of technology adoptions.
So the Indian designs are, the products meant for India are
Yes,
designed-
so that's a need of business, that's a need of duty cycle of Indian market as well. We can't bring the global product into Indian market, that will not survive in multiple aspects, not only for the reliability and durability, more on fuel efficient as well. Because Indian customers or Indian users are different compared to OEMs parts.
Right.
When we are selling the machine, they are utilizing the machine like anything.
Right.
They are utilizing machine almost 18 hours a day, 20 hours a day.
Wow.
That is not
Usually, what are the averages
this, we say almost 18 hours a day. Some, just
in India when compared to the world?
compared to the world, it is I would say double than Europe market.
Wow. So your machine is running a lot
Running
more
a
and
lot.
running for a longer duration, which is the lifespan as well.
Yes, and that's one part. Second is government is also contributing in that area because like what Mr. Anand mentioned, the government focus on the infrastructures and national project pipelines and the Gati Shakti, what the target defining they are putting in terms of completing those projects.
Projects time.
So that bringing the pressure to the ultimately those customers and users to run the machine that much hours.
Right.
So coming back to technology adoption parts, what we say when we are exporting to the global from the India, we are almost close to the more than 130 countries we are exporting for the group, from the India.
130
group.
countries. Wow.
That's including the.
You have a
including
global
some-
purchase office as well in India.
Yes. So
That
that's-
gives you that scale for parts as well.
that's with the electrical part as well.
Right.
But more focus on the because when you are exporting the part, the cost is most important and the quality.
Right.
So we had one mantra called one global quality. Because we can't have the two quality, one for India and one for global from the same plant.
What are the cost advantage that India offers when you send some of the machines from India to the other parts of the world?
In terms of cost center, say, we have the plant in Europe as well, but still I can see the certain percentage of cost advantage what we are exporting machine from India.
Right. Right.
And that too again, not specifically for the stage 5 countries or emission countries, but there are some tier 2, tier 3 countries as well where we can take the advantage of cost.
Right. Right. Let me bring in Mr. Jain. You come from a neighboring country and you've delivered so much into the local market. What's been the secret sauce in your assessment? How should the Indian market be seen in terms of some of the challenges that Anand sir mentioned and what Deshmukh sir mentioned?
Coming back to some of the things which Anand sir was mentioning about the bigger machines, which are very much required for the kind of development we are looking for. Definitely our European partner companies or the Japanese ones came to India, they really didn't sustain in Indian market. Reason being maybe the sensitivity of Indian market or our economics of operations, or maybe their lookout of the business, how they look their business to grow. Yes, we have machines which are coming from Chinese market, and we should take it as an example how they have grown, and we can also grow in a similar fashion, because tomorrow our growth pattern is touching them.
Right.
We are having similar kind of a population. We are also growing much faster than rest of the
world.
Rest of the world. And what happened there will be happening here
As well.
So let us take them as an example.
Right.
We at SANY, we have started our manufacturing facility in India. We are manufacturing many products. We do have started localizing some of the major components of cranes and piling machines, which you have said. But as we see it, it is the economy of sales,
Right.
scale.
Yeah.
Unless you are not getting that scale, it is
Very hard
really
to
not
localize.
feasible to manufacturing those parts. Another aspect, availability of talent,
Right.
availability of resources to manufacture them, and our competency to export if in case we manufacture. We started manufacturing few products which are primarily for export market. We are successful in doing so, but we all get influenced by the global things which are happening all around us.
Absolutely.
So
What are the learnings that can be brought in here that can India
some
can
of the
imbibe?
major learnings are whatever is coming to us, let us start enhancing our own skills, develop a team within the company, within the country, support institutions to enhance our skill levels, so that we are strong enough to compete to the other parts of the world and produce a quality product. And these are giving us time and opportunity.
So
Otherwise,
engineering and
who-
design talent is what you're talking about?
right
kind
from design to AI to software development, all fields. May it be the local supplier development. Earlier we were not having suppliers. Today we have suppliers who are supplying to certain level.
Right.
And tomorrow, as the number will grow, those suppliers, those component manufacturers will gain strength.
Right.
to supply more, and they will also find strength to invest more in technology.
Right.
So these will give opportunity to our industry to move in a forward-looking manner.
Right. Mr. Prasad and Puneet, I mean, CNH exports significantly, and from a Tata Hitachi perspective, the exports have started in a right earnestness. So let me bring first Puneet, and then I'll come to you, Mr. Prasad. How critical exports is in order to ensure that you are catering to the domestic Indian market, and you've also spent money in setting up local design center, and which is something that Tata Hitachi is also doing. So how critical is the local ecosystem before we can actually start producing it at scale and cater to the burgeoning need that is expected in the future, which is what Mr. Jain's talking about. Create that skill set infrastructure locally, which is what is going to fuel the growth in the future. So let me get you, Puneet, first.
So I think, there is no doubt and no question about, or no doubt or no second thoughts that, exports are important. And for us, in case, there are months where the number of machines exported are more than what we have sold in domestic markets. What it brings to the table, obviously the scale. The biggest thing is what I have seen over the years is the confidence of our global customers, which starts from our internal teams as well. So today we are exporting to almost close to 115, 120 countries, right? And it has grown slowly. It wasn't there on a day one, right? Today, I think the confidence within our customers is high, and the result of that is that there are specific product lines which are exclusively manufactured in India for the world. Right. So there are skid steer platforms which we are manufacturing in India, supplying to all the markets. We are supplying to Americas, to Europe, to Australia, to all these emissionized and non-emissionized countries. And as Atul said, it's the same assembly line which is delivering the products.
Global quality from India.
Exactly. Yesterday, for example, there was a very interesting thing happened. There was a group of customers from Chennai in our plant and a group of customers from Tunisia.
Interesting.
At the same time, right? And it's the same line for both of them.
Right.
So
and the local customer also gets the confidence that what they're getting is local price and global quality.
And the second thing which has helped us to also start manufacturing multiple brands within the umbrella companies we have. So we are making for Case Construction brand. We are also making for New Holland Construction brands.
Right.
So that has helped us to experiment with larger specifications of machines, the different types of machines. And obviously, the domestic market gets the advantage of scale of economics, the turnaround times. There are instances where I had to cater to a customer with a specification which is at this point, for example, not available for India. But I'm making those machines for the global markets. For example, emissionized excavators.
Right.
We are anyways making for European markets and other markets. So if there is a demand, I can very easily cater to them. So that gives me, that much of elbow room to play with, even if the product is not a regular product for domestic market, but still I can offer.
So the only way to cater to the need for future is ensure that export is a critical pillar. That not only gives you scale, local sourcing, probably local design as well, that allows you to offer a right price to the customers.
And one more thing, what happens subtly, it also helps to attract the talent. See, construction equipment industry is not a very flashy, fancy industry. A young engineering graduate would aspire to get into, unless he's a hardcore fan of mechanical engineering and things like that. But if the brand's persona is reflecting those attributes, where somebody can see, okay, I can have a global career with this brand. You can attract better people.
Right.
That's
Nice you said. We've heard from Europe, we've heard from China, we've heard. Now I want to bring in the Japanese DNA here. Slow, steady, assured, long-term quality, reliability, one step at a time. but keep at it. What's been your assessment? You've grown at a steady pace and you've stayed your course and you cater to certain specific side of the market and you stick to that core, and the diversification is again slow and steady. So help me understand, how do you view when the growth in the market is at a certain pace and which demands price and localization, how does Tata Hitachi go about its own business?
Yeah, first of all, thanks to ZF and thanks to Autocar for having us here.
Yeah, man, it's a pleasure.
It's my pleasure to be, rubbing shoulders with the who's who of the industry here. And I think my take is, the context in which, I would respond is slightly different
Sure.
from what we have heard in this room so far. We are a joint venture between Tata Motors and Hitachi. Hitachi gave us the technology. They have been bringing technology to us for now more than 4 decades.
Right.
This joint venture started way back in 1984,
Yes.
and probably this is the only joint venture which is up and running in not only in CE industry but any
Successful JV.
JV still running.
Yeah.
Every other industry I've seen both the JV partner split and
Nice complementarity, local and technology.
So maybe as you said, that steady state growth is what probably has helped both the JV partners appreciate in one another, and then we have been going together. Number one. Number two, Indian CE industry has largely been growing because of these multinationals coming and setting up shop in India.
Right.
Now, when these multinationals come to India, they have also been, in a way, seeing India as a domestic, as a manufacturing base. While catering to the Indian market, also catering to
the global
doing
needs.
manufacturing for the other geographies.
Yeah.
I think that's been the approach for many industries that, or many players that I've seen in India, which has not been the case for Tata Hitachi.
Yeah.
Right? When Japan wanted to look at India, they gave technology to us, but their outlook has always been developing Indian products, developing Indian market, and serve the local market.
Right.
So exports has never been a very big
Contributor.
very big business drivers,
Focus area.
right, for us ever, which continues to even today. Now,
about
only
20%.
now in the last 4 or 5 years, we have started looking outside of India.
Yeah.
Hitachi has now started looking at the Indian base to
Cater to global needs.
cater to the products outside of India. So, but still, I would say we are, if you look at my top line, maybe 5% is what we look at outside of India, but we are still homegrown. Even before Atmanirbharta and all became a buzzword, I think we were doing it for the last 60 years.
The Gamba check matters a lot. What the consumer wants, how he uses the machine, and then you
Absolutely.
design your machines accordingly.
Absolutely.
Let me bring in Anshul. Sorry.
If I can, sorry, if I can just continue. So, now having said that, the way I look at the future starters, like what I see here, the story so far is at one level, but if India tomorrow has to be the factory to the world, the China plus one story that we all keep hearing over the last few years. I think there are 3 essential challenges that as a nation we need to overcome. Right? Point number 1 has already been touched upon by the other members here, which is the skill.
Right.
Now, skill in terms of the people driving this industry locally, that's one part of the skill. The skill of the operators, the skill levels of our customers and their employees. So it's skill at every level, which is a challenge. Like Puneet mentioned, we are a absolutely brick and mortar company. Soiling our hands and uniforms at the remotest possible sites.
Right.
So definitely this is not the area that a youngster would
Right.
feel excited about coming in.
Right.
So there is a huge challenge for skill. Then the second problem I think that we need to address is the scale,
Right.
which Mr. Anand Sundaresan spoke about.
Yeah.
The scale of operations, whether it is for the component level
Yeah.
or even for the equipment level.
Yeah.
So just to draw your attention, if our friends from China, if they grew to the scale that they have managed to grow from being nowhere about 10 years ago,
Yeah.
the Chinese excavator industry virtually did not exist.
Yeah. Yeah.
There were more than 100,000 units of wheel loaders selling
Right.
till about maybe prior to 2015.
Right.
Right? That entire wheel loader industry shifted to excavators. And then, that excavator shot up to about, the last figure I heard was about, it went to as high as 200,000 units.
Insane. Wow.
Okay? Now, that scale is what India needs. Now, this scale in our neighboring country did not happen because they were exporting.
Right.
It happened because there was a domestic consumption.
Right.
And that's where the demand creation locally
Yeah.
is very, very critical
Yeah.
for that scale to build up.
Right.
Once that scale is there, I'm sure every component vendor will,
Yeah.
rush towards India. Every OEM will rush towards India. All my, skill challenges
Yeah.
will get addressed.
Right.
The third S, the third challenge, which is S, I think, is where this future starters come from, is the outlook from building a product to building a solution. So my
Absolutely.
third S is the solutions.
Absolutely.
So skill, scale, and solutions.
Yeah.
Now, when I say solutions, what I mean is that, today most of the equipment manufacturers are still looking at, technology, product, but they are all addressing the product on a standalone basis.
Right. What about the life cycle?
One is a life cycle. Like, somebody mentioned, the second generation, third generation entrepreneurs from our customers, who are all, seen the world over, gone and studied there. For instance, I have some customers, some old-time customers. I remember one very big customer based out of Hyderabad. He sent his son to go to the US, who did textile engineering there, right? He came back to India, and then he started building roads in India.
Wow. Interesting.
Because his father was running
Yeah,
that
yeah,
business.
yeah.
So this guy went, did his textile engineering, came back and
Yeah.
started building roads. Now, the problem is not there.
Yeah.
The problem is, during his study stint abroad, this gentleman saw the global brands and
Yeah.
what they can do.
Yeah.
And the moment he came back to India,
Yeah.
he started looking for those solutions in India,
Right. And you couldn't
which
find
obviously
them.
were not
Couldn't find them. Yeah.
not available.
Right.
Now, this is a story I'm talking of 20 years ago,
Right.
right?
Right.
Today, that's not the situation.
Yeah.
Today, everybody wants technology, everybody wants connected
Right.
machines, everybody wants autonomous
Right.
operation. So, technology has to fill in the gap for the skill.
Right.
So, if those solutions have to be created for tomorrow,
Yeah.
if India has to be ready for tomorrow,
Yeah.
I think India needs to work. All the OEMs need to work in not working much beyond the product and get into developing solutions.
Solution-oriented approach is what is needed. Let me bring in Anshul. You've heard all of them. You're in planning, and when you see all of a sudden the tariff from US turns from 25 to 50%, and the Indian economic growth story, inflationary challenges, interest rate challenges, the road contracts getting delayed. Now, how do you plan? How do you plan? And in your assessment, what are the enablers that are needed to kind of take the growth to the next level?
Yeah, I like the switch. You started with challenges and now you are talking about enablers, and that is what, because we have talked about challenges, because things are happening. India is growing as a country, and every 100 rupees which is invested in construction transforms itself as a 250 rupees in the GDP growth.
Yes.
So something is going right.
Yes.
Apart from that, what is working here is construction equipment has done and grown India the way we stand today. But if we have to expedite this growth or catalyze this growth, there are, I would say, three important enablers which has to come in. Firstly, we should not look at this industry because there is a IC engine and a machine. This is a PV industry or a CV industry. Usually it gets bundled together, while most of the policy framework or even how the media is looking at CE industry. So number one thing is that this industry has to be looked like a strategic area from the policy framework. The way we are looking at petroleum industry right now, and the way we are looking at chip industry right now, or the way we are looking at mobile manufacturing. Because this industry is going to do a long-term work, not only in driving the growth of the economy by using the internal factors like the work done by government or the private sector in construction equipment, but also globally, as we are seeing in case of China. When the domestic market in China is now down, most of the growth is coming from the Belt and the Road projects which the Chinese government has taken. So that strategic shift we need to make to drive this growth faster. Number two is we usually paint the whole wall with the same color. While it comes to the regulatory framework and the policy framework, we have to
nuances.
we have to, firstly, the regulatory framework has to be uniform. There cannot be one set of regulations for the machines which are going on road and one set of the machines which are not going on road. We have to have a uniform regulatory framework. What is most important here is because the play field is global now. In this industry, unlike PV and CV industry, there is no entry barriers. Import duty restriction don't stand here. So what we need to do is we need to understand which are the strategic areas for India to build competency in. Because this industry is a conglomeration of few industries. Construction equipment is a derivative of construction happening in India. Analogous industry is cement industry, which has impact not only in construction but also construction equipment industry. And thirdly is cement. China has done right in all the three areas. If you look at their GDP is almost 5 times as ours. If you look at their cement production is also 5 times as that of ours. So they are driving all the three together. And that's why in the last 10 years, currently our construction segment contributes almost 12% of the GDP. During this last 10 years, that's construction activity has contributed far more to their GDP. Now the percentages have gone down when the industry is taking a downward trend. So if we have to do that, the second thing we have to do, and we cannot ape the Chinese model. The last point I wanted to say is, we
can learn from them, but
we cannot ape that model. And where we have to differentiate is that if anything goes down, everything is owned by government. So losses are not booked in a particular business unit. Government has to be, and the industry leaders and the industry supplier ecosystem has to be very prudent about the profitability of the enterprise. Government has to be always paying through their corner of their eye, looking at who are the top players in this industry and what is their profitability and viability. In this industry, the profitability and viability not only in the top tier OEMs, but also for the supplier ecosystem is quite difficult. It's not coming by the way it is coming in PV industry and CV industry. So if we don't look at the competitiveness of the industry holistically and just ape the Chinese model, it would be difficult to create export competitiveness, what sir is talking about. The whole ecosystem in its various subsets have to become competitive. Same applies for regulatory framework also. Like, we cannot simply ape the regulatory framework, because right now the product cost, most of it is getting built in only on account of regulatory changes. I hope many of my colleagues here are leading R&D. I think a substantial part of their exchequer is not going in creating solutions, but fulfilling the regulatory guidelines for which customer is paying. Customer is paying.
It has helped in exports. Your machines do go to evolved markets.
Then the last thing is that India will not evolve the way other developed economies have evolved. Like, for example, backhoe is a very India-specific application. So is SLCM. And in other industries we have seen, in car industry, small car market is very unique to India. So India will have its own growth path. What we are going to do is going to be totally different. The way we are going to do is going to be different. We have to focus on what we need to do and incentivize that part of it. We do it through import tariffs. We do it through PLI. That is our choice.
I think it's very well said. I think you need to have a unique lens through which the government needs to look at the construction equipment space and probably create something like what they did for PLI for auto or what they are doing it for semiconductor, you essentially need a large corpus to be dedicated for the industry, wherein the industry can actually look at the next 10 years and evolve their plans with the incentives. Kishore,
PLI is not working for us.
yeah.
Okay. Because the industry, we have been talking to the DHI, and because we are not able to commit that we are going to invest so much and we are going to generate so much of employment and all.
Yeah.
So
You need a curated scheme for it.
exactly. So then then fortunately now coming to your question, so that is where the DHI they supported us. They said that no, this industry is very important for us, so we have to do something for you. So instead of going for PLI, we'll give you an incentive. So that incentive scheme that's being worked out
Right.
now with the governments, our people are continuously interacting with them. Some certain things, of course, why I agree with what you mentioned, is that India is a very, very price sensitive market.
Yes.
And it is becoming worse today, basically because some of the road tenders, for example, if you look at it, people are quoting -25, -30 and -35. So how can they buy good quality equipment? It's impossible. So that's a very big challenge. And as you rightly said, the Indian construction equipment manufacturing industry, if you take the balance sheet of all the companies, you will find that there are only 2 or 3 companies, Indian companies, who are selling predominantly in domestic are making profit. And the other companies who are making profit are the people who have a substantial amount of export out of that, where from the parent company they don't have so much of territorial restrictions and things like that. But if you look at a normal company, their profitability is really terrible.
Right.
They really cannot.
So incentive can help you protect the bottom line.
But incentive can help, but none of the CEOs in India who are working for the global companies have even the authority to say what I'm going to invest tomorrow.
Correct.
Because it has to come from
HQ.
From the headquarters.
Yeah, it has to be approved for India.
Yeah. So, I mean, it cannot be openly said that yes, I am going to invest so much money to in the next 3 years or 5 years or something. But it goes through a process.
Absolutely.
It goes through a process.
Right.
So,
Kishore, let me bring you in. I mean, you heard all of them and you heard the scale challenge as well. You have to, if say your customers come to you and ask you about localizing a certain part, you also have to ensure that there is enough business for your tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 rather. Now, given the scale challenge that exists, I mean, what is the way out? I mean, and given the fact that not everything that ZF works is on price, right? At the end of the day, reliability, longevity, which is what these machines are for all about. How can this be addressed? Because they are seeking localization, they're not getting enough vendors who localize with them.
Yeah, I mean, I would like to talk about this from the perspective of catalysts.
Yeah.
Of course, ZF is now, in fact, today, as I understood, we are celebrating our 110th year of anniversary of ZF.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Of innovation and engineering. Now, what is enabling us into localization or any kind of innovation or any further engineering is basically the catalysts. ZF as a company, ZF in India as a manufacturing base, we basically first started catering to the export market. Of course, now we are expanding, with the technology what we have received from Germany, of course, and trying to indigenize, localize meeting to the market of India.
Right.
So from that perspective, if you see the challenges that what we see, of course, investment is one, it comes, but then when we invest on either capacity or competency, then it takes time for that competency to basically deliver. And that is the patience that we need to have in this part of the industry.
It's a fast-changing world.
Exactly. And then the point of technology and affordability, that comes into factor. Of course, we talk about AI, requirements and telematics and so on and so forth. But when we really go in front of the OEs and basically look at the scale, when we spoke about where is that volume where we need to cater to, where our investment is more focused on, that becomes very much important. And also the other challenges what we have is the in-house manufacturing with the OEs where we need to compete with. So that brings a different set of challenges.
Right.
When
they actually don't get it from outside, then they end up producing sub-assemblies, assemblies inside.
And there basically the cost factor comes into a picture. As an OE or a German OE coming into India and starting up our base and then localizing, it basically takes time. And during that time, of course, we compete with the technology what we are bringing and the time it takes for us to localize and indigenize, change ourselves into the requirement of Indian market, as well as the time we need to meet that cost targets.
Which are steep.
It's basically the patience. How ZF is looking at in this perspective is, of course, we want to be resilient. We want to focus on the quality, on the innovation, on the technology what we are delivering. Of course, we saw how the electrification boom came, and then where we are with that today.
Yeah.
Of course, there is always a push for localization. Different world dynamics. It brings in front of us the pressures for localization and so on and so forth. But as any tier 1 supplier or tier 2, tier 3, we need to be resilient. We need to be resilient. We need to work with our OEs, with our customers to basically understand their requirement, of course, then collaborate and meet at common grounds so that we can meet the end customer's requirement.
Yeah, and a few things that you mentioned: pace, which is resilience, and the third most important aspect is something that Akash also started with: volatility. I'll start with you, Mr. Jain. The life cycle management, and in the face of whatever is happening globally, the disruption that is there, how do you, with the external forces against you and the local factors, how can a construction equipment company tide over the external factors which you are very dependent on for business?
So there are few factors which are really in our control, which is developing our own vendors, taking our vendor base to tier 2, tier 3 cities.
To get into vertical integration.
Yeah. So these are develop them, work them. Many corporates are running programs where vendor development is one of the key factors.
Yeah.
Then another factor where we can develop softer skills, building our own teams where softwares, AIs and many other tools are used, making a soft muscle within the organization that will answer many challenges which we are facing now in industry. Third is indigenizing a product, understanding our own application. As we rightly said, Indian is a different market, different use cases there. So product coming from abroad may not serve Indian conditions or Indian market. So, and an Indian product manager or the application engineers working with IT people and R&D team bring out a product like the way backhoe worked for India, or small cars as you rightly said, and bringing in new technologies. This may bring a sea change, and this scale will bring economics.
Right.
So this is the way forward which I...
So essentially you take time to build your own vertical integration and the value chain so that you are self-reliant, use technology to crunch time, development cycle, and build a culture that allows you to kind of deal with the external challenges. Puneet, if I could bring you in, the growth of construction equipment is so much linked to how the global economies move and how the Indian economy moves. There's so much of disruption everywhere. There's, on one hand, is a duality there right now. There's tariff being imposed, and then we are talking of FTAs with the UK and EU as well. That also opens up an opportunity. And at the same time, the Indian economy, and we go through various election cycles that leads to a lot of highs and lows. So how can construction equipment industry, in your assessment, insulate itself from these highs and lows and deal with the volatility?
I think the first thing which comes to my mind to answer your question is, see, these are cyclical changes, right? If you see last 60, 70 years of time, and the pattern is actually repeating, right? Yeah. I think the biggest challenge we as an Indian are facing is basically it's a mindset. We all have grown up feeling pride in having jugaad for everything.
Yeah.
But we forget that actually jugaad kills the excellence, right?
Very well said. Yeah, identity needs to change.
Exactly. So, and the moment we realize that, that jugaad will not work and we have to actually drive the agenda. For example, I was reading, with the changes in, for example, the constituent of the diesel,
Yeah.
which is being used, and more of ethanol being used,
Yeah,
right?
isobutane, yeah.
Now the operating cost for the customer will go up
Absolutely.
because he has to change more filters.
Yeah.
The fuel efficiency will get compromised and things like that. And now that has to be compensated, and it's a very local issue, right?
Right,
It's a very
right.
India-centric
Yeah, yeah.
issue, but it's an opportunity because it will push the designers, friend like
Yeah,
us,
yeah.
like ours, to work more on the machine, to make it more efficient, to bring more hydraulics, make it more, to
Yeah.
deliver more with the same thing, so that the end customer doesn't feel the pinch.
Right.
Because he has to,
Right.
at the end of the day, he has to deliver to his end
Right.
customer. And as sir said, people are quoting for minus 20%, minus 30%,
Which is insane,
right?
yeah.
Which
How do you survive?
which means that brings to another point that the Indian as a customer, and sir, I beg to differ that we are not price sensitive, we are value sensitive. Our customer today is willing to pay the price provided he can see the value
Yeah.
coming out of
Yeah.
the equipment, and that's a shift which is happening, which I could realize. I'll quote one example, and that's again a mindset shift, right? I was visiting in a rural area, and I'd gone to that area after some time. So I'd visited and then I'd gone again after 7-8 years. In my first visit, people were generally talking about infrastructure. They should have infrastructure, they should have roads and things like that. In my second visit, the narrative changed that they should have a good road. That word good, which has come over the last 7 or 10 years,
Yes.
that actually is something, an opportunity.
The young India demands better.
Yes, I mean, and they had a very unique demand that they need a concrete road, good concrete road, because वो जब गेहूं का टाइम आता है और वो they use that road as I mean at the end of the day these are the guys who are
Yeah.
demanding. So I mean that's a mindset shift which will drive, and that should give us a lot of opportunities to
So mindset
rethink.
shift towards innovating, mindset shift towards, because again, innovative has become a cliche now, so oft used. What kind of mindset shift? Create for own? What kind of shift are you talking?
My user being more demanding, they're seeking more value, and so that should give me more opportunity to push my boundaries.
Value. Just continue to offer value. With Mr. Prasad, with so much of noise going around, and I've always been intrigued with Japanese approach, and it's right at the sign of time is so much against the grain of the culture of what Japan is, who thinks 20, 30 years ahead. When so much happens, how do you keep sane? Stay steady, stay your course. I mean, in your assessment, what is needed from Indian context?
See, Japanese way of developing a product or a technology always stems from the customer requirement. In Hitachi, we have this acronym called CIF, Customer Interest First. That's what Hitachi follows,
Right.
and that's what we also follow here.
Right.
Regulatory is something which the customer is not asking for it.
Absolutely. You have
But
to meet regardless.
He is not even keen on paying for it.
Yeah.
But it is a mandate, so the customer doesn't have a choice, or the OE doesn't have a choice. Right? So what drives why a Japanese product today still continues to rule the market for its quality, reliability, durability, is because it is all under that CIF,
Right.
which
Customer interest
matters.
first.
Now, when we look at India, the Indian market, the Indian customer requirement here, like what Puneet said, or what Mr. Anand Sundaresan also mentioned a while ago, the debate between price, value, and all is I think everywhere, not just look to the CE
Industry,
space,
yeah.
but it is applicable
hygiene,
everywhere. But the customer wants a solution.
Yeah.
Now that solution comes at a cost. Any solution will come at a cost.
Yeah.
Now, the only way the Indian industry can develop if the OEMs, the component guys, the solution providers, everybody in the value chain, if everybody can get those economies of scale, which will lead to a cost leadership.
Yeah.
The moment that cost leadership visibility is there, I'm sure whether the customer wants a price, we can deliver the price. The customer wants a value, we can deliver value. Customer wants a fancy piece of equipment and willing to pay for it, we can deliver that also. What is plaguing today is the cost competitiveness.
Competitiveness is a challenge.
The cost competitiveness is not coming because we don't have scale, we don't have component manufacturers, like what Mr. Anand Suresh started with. None of these, high precision, high value hydraulics ecosystem doesn't exist in India. Right? So everybody is dependent on either a Japanese OEM or a European supplier to get those components into India for us.
Right.
Now that is what is, I think, plaguing. And I just want to also bring in this, that cost competitiveness that we are talking about has to, if it has to be sustainable, it has to come basis the demand in the country.
Right.
Now, fortunately or unfortunately, the basic concept of or the set of guys who created W2EOs and all have all now taken a reverse gear.
Yes.
And they are all moving into the era of protectionism.
Yes.
Each country wants to protect itself.
Right.
Now, if this goes beyond a certain point, then tomorrow India may cease to see a global market.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know which direction it will go.
Thankfully, we are a large consuming economy. Hopefully, we can serve our own needs.
Precisely. That is precisely my point.
Yeah.
If India has to become sustainable,
Yeah.
it has to be based on the strength of the domestic demand.
Right.
So,
And there have to be enablers to generate demand for domestic.
precisely. So, through ICMA,
Yeah.
whatever we are going and doing our engagements and interactions with the government is essentially in this direction. Probably, in the early part of the discussion, you mentioned that ICMA has ears and eyes, for the government.
Yeah.
Is only because probably, when I met in one of our interactions with the Secretary of MORTH,
Yeah.
when we went and sat with him, I said, sir, you would be surprised to know that probably we are the only industry association which is coming and knocking the doors of the government saying, boss, please get us regulated. Please give us emission norms.
Others are talking about over-regulation.
Everybody else is saying, sir, please push it back.
Yeah.
Give us 6 months time, give us 1 year time, give us 3 years time.
Yeah.
But I think Mr. Anand Sundaresan himself, would have visited, made several rounds to all possible ministries, saying, boss, please regulate us.
Yes.
We want to become more and more competitive. We want to scale up the product and the solutions that we can create in India,
Right.
so that we are not only ready for India, but we are ready for the world.
The world market. JCB's got the right secret sauce, so to say, right? I mean, you've been just selling machines, selling globally. In your assessment, when you look at the future, probably the largest manufacturing base for JCB in India, what is it in your assessment is going to need to tide over the challenges that we've heard of, localization, cost, sensitivity?
In fact, what Prasad mentioned, I think multiple times we mentioned about the volume of this particular CE industry. That is not going to match any point of time in future for the automotive volume is there.
Right.
Will always be low.
So volume is always going to be limited.
Limited part.
So how do you work in those constraints then?
So in that case, that's I mentioned to what Prasad mentioned of the solution.
Right.
So generally GCC, Global Capability Centers, in terms of softwares and engineering GCC are two different elements. Is we are not just support function. We have the pressure to bring the value to the customers.
Right.
And as on today, CE industry is looking for only 3 values. Probably that's from my perspective. One is productivity, maximum output, minimum breakdown.
Right.
Second is the fuel efficiency, what they are looking, because that's almost 35 to 40% cost of the life cycle of that product.
Right.
And third element is about the reliability and durability. As I mentioned before, the reliability and durability for Indian customers or Indian duty cycle is different than what we are exporting part.
Right.
So that's bring the challenge into the scaling
So
part.
again, keep the customer at the center and
Keep the
create-
customer at the center and develop the solution around it.
Right, right. But the enablers, from your perspective, from the government side, I mean, I don't know what will it take to kind of accelerate this space, because we're talking about 250,000 machines still, and again we're talking about doubling more than doubling at the end.
So that's bring another side of pressure. Like as we are the biggest manufacturing footprint in
Yeah,
India.
right.
We have the 4 plants where.
Yeah.
So bringing the fuel efficiency of machine at the same time bringing the efficiency of our plant as well.
Right.
So IoT is bringing a lot of how we can maximum output from the same plant as well.
Right, right.
So
right.
making those
Technology using
is not about machine connectivity as well as our capital equipment connectivity, our welding robots and our
Right.
machining center, how we are bringing those IoT and get maximum from those for utilization.
Right, right, right. Let me get Rajiv sir again. In your assessment, given the fact that Schwing caters to a certain specific subset of the market, what would it be from Schwing status perspective? What is it needed in your assessment to kind of take this sector to the next level, and few suggestions that you may have?
Right. So when I started, what I said is, that our industry started with the imported technology, not the India-centric technology, keeping Indian customers in mind. One of the important factor is the cost of ownership. Because Indian customers are very sensitive,
Yeah.
and up
is
to
what
disposition,
leads to
what
value.
cost value they are adding. So I think that is the area where we should focus, which starts from the capital cost, from the cost of equipment, then operating cost, which includes efficiency, alternate fuel, electrification, and when you dispose it off, what value you are getting, from that. So the complete end-to-end ownership cost, what is there? I think that is the area I think we should focus. Along with the other challenges, of course, will be there. So that will help, as a sector to keep it ready for the future, because we are seeing a clear trend, especially in our concrete equipment, that there is a shift on the electrification side.
Right.
And those shifts, we are able to see a telltale sign, and we are working also on that.
Right.
And wherever we are getting in the market, we are fetching a premium on that,
Right.
because people are willing to pay extra for that,
yeah.
and their profitability goes up.
Right.
So, profitability, you can balance it out. Some sector which are very generic products, which are generic, you may not get a huge profit, whereas a specialized product and which can cater the future requirement, and customer sees as a value.
Right.
Because they may see there is an increase in cost, 10%. When you explain them,
Yeah.
their mindset changes,
Right.
and they go for those kind of solutions. So that's why if you see, we are going for electrification. Now CNG is another area where we are entering.
Yeah.
In fact, if you see, automobile already entered in the CNG, and good numbers, especially in western and northern part, they are going. And now we are also entering very soon in that segment,
Lovely.
And when we started discussing with customers, they started appreciating. They see a value in that, and they said it is going to complement as a product. And second portion of it is the full solution provider.
Yeah.
Because if you start selling a product,
Yeah.
if you go any construction site, if you say I can sell this,
Yeah.
they won't understand it.
Right.
And they will buy it because they also sometimes they don't have the full knowledge. But when you go as a full solution provider, and that's the direction I think we are also entering,
Yeah.
right from first end to second end,
Yeah.
if you cater the full range of the product,
Right.
understanding the need, but with the India-centric way, rather than copying
Design
from
for India, design.
India design, India product, and keeping the Indian components and the supplier in mind, because you can't insist people to bring your sub-components like valve and pump in India. So create the product around that,
Right,
and how to utilize the maximum efficiency of it.
Right.
I think that is the direction I think
Right.
we are talking about.
Right. We started with prospects, we started with headwinds. We'll sum it up. We're running out of time. We'll sum it up with sustainability, the green agenda, the circularity, the net zero part of it. Construction equipment industry has started moving in that direction. So I'll just go starting with you, Rajiv sir, that from a sustainability standpoint, is it an imperative, or because it appears in many of the consumer space that we are dumbing down technology on them. But in your space, there's the cost economics already there, and it actually makes sense where customer sees value. So from a sustainability standpoint, if you could just give us your view, and then I'll just take each one of our views.
Right. So from that point of view, because see earlier, if you see electrification, electrical power availability was not there in the remote area, especially project side, there was a fluctuation and other things. Now there is a resource available, power available, alternate options available of fossil fuel. So people are accepting a solution for that. The availability and transportability could be an issue, but which is getting resolved over a period of
But is
time.
that an additional cost, you feel?
Sorry?
Is that an additional cost?
That initially it will add initial cost, but if you see the total cost of the ownership,
Life cycle or
life
ownership
cycle, it gives an advantage, clear advantage.
Right,
and
right.
wherever we are going and explaining, they are grabbing it straight away.
Right, right. Anshul, is that an imperative and we need to do it and move faster, or we let the consumer decide? At the end of the day, some of these things probably cost, and then you pass on the cost, and then it's out of the bounds of the consumer's
as
wallet.
we were discussing in the last section, like it's the value or the price which determine what customer is going to buy, and our market is very value sensitive or price sensitive, whichever way we want to decide it. So adoption is always a function of where customer sees value, and up till now, IC engine, specifically diesel, had made more sense in this industry. And I come from the construction equipment, so my views are mainly towards construction equipment. I do not.
What alternatives would
So see,
emerge?
I do not think, again, we need not a PV and CV industry.
Yeah.
I think Indian market has missed the bus. Companies like Tata's and Mahindras are focusing on only ICE only and EV only platforms. This industry, because the size of the machine is larger, maybe hybrid is an alternative. It is a strategic imperative which we have to see.
Yeah,
And
what-
as the
what
Europe is
consumer
closing down on diesel, and so India is becoming very important diesel engine producers.
Yeah.
So if the government want to incentivize rather than putting a regulatory load, an alternative could be, are we going to incentivize the hybrid technologies? Hybrid could be a way which could bring down the emissions also, improve the fuel efficiency also, and give a viable alternative, because all said and done, construction equipment industry do not have a very strong alternative of IC engines.
Right.
So technology investment and technology needs to have a direction and agenda where we need to drive and make it
Yeah.
value specific to the customer so that he takes it on rather than dumped on his head.
Exactly.
So that's what the direction we need to put it into.
Right.
And I think hybrid is a very important alternative which we need to work on.
Right.
Yeah.
Anand sir, you speak to government authorities regularly. What's their direction? Recently, the communication happened.
I think everybody knows about it. When Nitin Gadkari is always talking about ethanol, methanol,
Isobutane.
and all sorts of alternative fuel for the diesel engine. So that is that direction is very clear. Right? But most of us also, at least the West European companies who are here, in Europe, they are talking about ESG.
Right.
So in all our equipment or factories and everywhere, we have to take it very seriously. It's not forced by the government, but it is forced by our own parent company to take care of these things in our equipment. So many of us, we have already on the let's say the compactors or pavers and those sort of things, already we have moved towards battery operated things.
Yeah.
Of course, we have to see how fast we can really introduce into India. It is not battery operated products are not very difficult as far as the construction equipment is concerned, because it's not a passenger vehicle which travels.
Right.
So it is in one area, so it is easy to recharge it and things like that. And as far as our company is concerned, we are producing probably one of the most polluting product, that is our asphalt plant.
Right.
That is the most polluting product. And so we are doing a lot of work in this area, especially on sustainability, is alternate fuel. There also again we are using LDO or diesel and those sort of things. So we have shifted many of things, especially the bitumen heating tanks and all, we have shifted to electric. And also we are working on recycling.
Right.
Recycling and also the, we use RAP.
Yeah.
That is we take out when it's not, if the brownfield project is there, we reuse the already laid
Repurpose
asphalt.
them.
Yeah. So we call it as a RAP. And to the tune of, we have got technology to go up to 100% of RAP material for laying down this thing. So in Europe, at least we have more than 50-60%, 50-60 installation of very huge capacity plants where we are using 100% of the RAP material. In India, we have supplied up to 60% in many of the places, and it's working really perfect. So, it may appear as if, doing all these things it may appear that it is more expensive, but in the long run, in my opinion, it saves a lot of cost. RAP, for example, if one project, if they do it, they not only recover the cost of that additional investment what they make, but they make at least 5 times more than what they invested in one project.
Fantastic. So it need not be just the ESG imperative, it can actually add to your bottom line.
Exactly, it can add to the bottom line.
Right, right.
But provided the RAP is available.
Right.
Because many times what happened, the old roads, there is not enough bitumen available.
Yeah,
So when you cut it and take it out, you find that, very little this thing. So you have to anyway add bitumen, which is also one of the most costliest component in the road making.
Right. The circularity is something that is spoken quite often, and like JCB's global, you send machines to US, to Europe, and there the scope 1, scope 2, scope 3 are very critical element, and they're going to look even to the level of scope 3. If there are machines coming from India, whether a part sourced from India, how are they sourced, what is the level of green element there, that's going to be critical. So when you look at the future, do you think now is, on one hand, value to the consumer, but at the end of the day, regulations, especially for a large exporter like you, meeting the ESG and meeting the regulations overseas, especially EU? From a sustainability perspective, what's your...
So sustainability point of view, if you look at, I think there's a lot of push on the alternate fuel. But is the CE industries ready, number one? Is the infrastructure ready around that particular alternative fuel? Whether you took LPG, LNG, CNG, hydrogen or battery part.
Yeah, you even developed hydrogen, right?
Yes. So if you look at what Anshul mentioned about this industry is always based on the IC engine part.
Right.
How we can bring the innovation based on the IC engine. That's one of the hydrogen what we are bringing to part. But that hydrogen currently is more on technology advancement, more on the solution available. But is the hydrogen available easily to the end users? That's more important part.
So infrastructure development for sustainability is going to be...
So in all the fuel part, we take the gas, whether take the electric or the hydrogen one. In every element, the infrastructure, the challenge as on this particular industry part.
Right. Mr. Prasad, you've had large electric dumpers operating in mines. I saw them, they're humongous, just fabulous. It's amazing.
Yeah. So, sustainability again is in 2 parts, if you ask me. One is alternate fuels is one part of sustainability, but I think I would really take on from where Mr. Anand Sundaresan left. It is, making the operation sustainable for the customer. Also, largely the responsibility is with the OEMs.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, alternate fuel is, if you ask me, is a smaller part of it.
Okay.
In terms of the sustainability. But then, right from the equipment manufacturing, the biggest cost element for a customer today is the cost of fuel.
Right.
And fossil fuels, we are staring at a limited availability, limited resources. So every ounce of fuel, every ml of fuel that I can save, actually I'm contributing towards sustainability.
Right.
For the customer, for us, for the entire ecosystem.
Right.
Third is in terms of post the usage, the equipment disposal.
Yeah.
Right. So there again, I think many of the OEMs in India are already working on
it's a big refurbishing.
working on a second life for the equipment, so that we are able to address it.
Yeah.
Now this is as far as the one part of the sustainability is concerned. Coming to more direct, which is alternate fuels.
Yeah.
Hybrids. If we talk of hybrids, then Tata Hitachi was the first to bring in a hybrid excavator into Excon way back in 2017.
Yeah.
Right. So technology is available.
Yeah.
But likewise, if you talk of electrics, then we have battery powered solutions. We have tethered excavators, all in our lineup from Japan. But being a Tata Hitachi, we have we do our own bit here.
Yeah.
So we have developed tethered excavators.
Okay.
We have developed battery powered mini excavators.
Yeah.
We did have these machines on display in the previous Excon.
Yeah.
We are lining up for some more machines for this Excon.
Right.
So there is a lot of work happening on that.
Right.
However, I think what is not clear as of now is which direction this is going to settle.
Yeah, exactly.
Alternative to ICE is, there are many alternatives to ICE engines.
Right.
Every OEM, worth its salt is working out on various options.
Yeah.
There are many solutions. But what will finally
Direction needs to be clear.
move, what will finally sustain
Yeah.
is something I don't think anybody has any
The
clear
India's
idea.
imperative, where we
Yeah.
need to move needs to be clear.
Exactly.
So
needs to be clear.
we don't know as of now.
Right.
But yes, as a OEM, it is for me to be ready
Yeah.
for tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I think we are all working on all possible aspects.
Multitude of
Whether it
solutions.
is as simple as bitumen sorry, not bitumen adhesive, biodiesel additives,
Yeah.
which is the simplest,
Yeah.
to a complicated tethered excavator or a battery powered excavator.
Right.
Et
Right.
cetera, et cetera.
Right. Just final words from Puneet and Mr. Jain. Sustainability an imperative, or it can add to bottom line as well.
So I'll have a different take on it. So as an organization, CNH has always been a proactive organization. So globally, we have taken a very bold challenge of reducing the carbon dioxide per machine very significantly. Now, what will help? It helps actually to rework on a lot of subsystems within the machine, whether it's engine or powertrain or hydraulics or even integration of AI, which will compensate for the skill deficiency of the operators or selection of refrigeration and things like that. Now, what will happen? It may look like that the cost of ownership or the owning cost will probably go up for the customer a little bit. But if you look at the total cost of ownership during the life cycle of the machine, it will actually help the customers to gain that value out of it. They may have to pay probably partially because of the technologies which will go, but the benefits over a period of life cycle of the machine will actually eventually go to the customer. So
That'll be your hard work. You're the marketing guy. You'll have to prove to the consumer on ground. Prove to the consumer on ground. Mr. Jain, the final words.
As he rightly said, there are two parts majorly. One, bringing in more efficiency part on the existing power line which we have, where we need to work on technology, making machines more efficient as well as making operators and the maintenance team more knowledgeable in increasing their capabilities so that they optimize the use, minimize the wastage. That brings sustainability. Coming to second part is battery operated or electricals. Yes, as an OEM, you have to be market ready. You need to see where this market, and we should have the solution. As we should be solution oriented, and as the demand comes, we should be ready with the technology as well as with the product. Almost all OEMs have worked and they have the products on display. And I must say, it is at the same time the government initiatives, the regulations, as well as the end users. Many corporates already, Tata's, L&T's, they have already started that they want to replace their this much percentage of the fleet.
Yeah.
So they should stick on to it. See, speaking is one thing and then committed to it, then only OEM can answer you. See, I have seen many people speaking, yes, but when it comes to buying, see, you have to pay more.
Right.
So this message, when at senior level ISMA is discussing, at the same time we should discuss with these bigger corporate houses.
Yes. Yes.
Because if they don't buy, how we can respond to it?
Absolutely.
We have solutions to it.
Absolutely.
So there is with your platform, a big
there has to be engagement with OEs.
Yes, yes. See, we are catering
users.
We are catering solution. We are catering your needs. So at the same time, government should bring in regulation to the end user,
Right.
saying that you should start taking initiative in using these products.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then only my
Corporate
product will
imperative,
go to market.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
using your platform, you should create more awareness.
Sure, Mr. Jain. Any final words, Akash, from your end?
Well, no, thank you very much for all your insights. It's very interesting to note what's happening. I've spent most of my life, at least on the OEM side, and now very much on one of the largest auto component manufacturers or system integrators, whichever you may call, and I can share with you with this 30 years journey. It's very interesting when you're sitting in the car business, you say, well, we don't have volumes like the two-wheeler, 25, 26 million. And you sit like, But then in the commercial vehicle business, you say, well, my volume is only 600,000
Right.
or 700,000, and I can't get like cars 5 million in India, 5.4, heading for 7. So it's very interesting today as a learning for me to be sitting in the construction equipment industry,
Which is talking
saying
about
140,000 and now 250,000 is even not enough.
Right.
We don't have the volumes which others have. So I think we need to really perform where we are, and that's how it works. But I think for us at ZF, of course, if we start from sustainability, that's not a question at all. We are one of the top 10 firms in the world which have taken sustainability targets, which will happen the earliest. Already in India, out of our 19 plants, most of them are already running more or less on renewable energy, or major part of it. And that agenda then, of course, is also running also on the components we make and all. On the construction equipment industry, I think because of the volume, the two-wheeler industry in India modernized very soon, and today I think the Indian two-wheelers are most respected. If you go into the, top 1, 2, 3 players I think are Indian.
Yeah.
The second, when you come to car industry, that's already happened with 60 plus suppliers.
Yeah.
When you come to commercial vehicle industry, the rapid change is coming now.
Yeah.
And it's also started in the construction equipment
space,
industry. But I guess that's how you go down the value chain, and this is where the last bit will happen in construction equipment.
Right.
But I do also want to say that for me it's very clear that we are at about 3 trillion on the economy, on the GDP. And in another 10, 12 years, it's expected to go to 12 to 13 times. So it's been growing by, let's say in 10 years it's doubling, then in 7 years it's doubling, now in 5 years it's doubling. It's going to grow 4 or 5 times in the next 10 years, which means that every industry or everything what we do will grow 400, 500%.
Yeah.
So there will be a major shake-up. We expect that. A lot of you also mentioned rightfully that there are a lot of heavy equipment which is absolutely missing in industry. But you are also the industry where one has been able to bring in a lot of equipment from outside earlier.
Oh, yeah.
And now because India is on this Make in India mode,
Yeah.
and I think some of you also mentioned that, then everything needs to get made here.
Yeah.
So I think our role supporting you as ZF, of course, is that we've been doing construction equipment here for a very long time. We've been doing it as part of one of our manufacturing facilities. But this June we have opened a dedicated facility in Coimbatore, which of course does a lot of exports to customers around the world, but also does a lot of work for India. So we have started from our side to look at 4 cornerstones for ZF, because some of you said if you have to be in India, you have to be Indian and you have to make things Indian. So we are looking at local sourcing, we're looking at local engineering and validation, we're looking at local manufacturing to be then with the help of people and talent. So these 4 ground rules we intend to follow. Only then can we meet out this price point or value point question which you always have. But I agree that we have to give value, and once value is given, customer is willing to pay. So thank you for all your inputs that would also help organizations like us to keep this global face, but in the inside be as Indian as possible.
Global.
We are local. We are about 16,000 people as ZF here, serving the automobile industry, including construction. And I can tell you each one of them is an Indian. And that is what India is going to grow for. We are not China here as yet. I have a lot of respect for China. They've done a wonderful revolution for their own people over the last 30 years, probably 60 to 80% volume everywhere in the world in any segment you go to. But our conditions are different, and we'll also get there. So very much hoping to, we're not working with all of you, we're working with some of you. So, but we intend to work with most of you. So thank you very much for your inputs. Over to you.
No, thank you very much for giving your time. It was enriching for us to understand a lot more about the industry. We hope to bring it out to the larger audience and bring the right narratives out to the stakeholders. Thank you very much for joining in. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.